Call meeting to order at, anybody watch?
7:08.
7:08, allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, read through the minutes of the meeting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got a quorum, we can approve them.
I know what
Oh,
you're
you did?
Whatever you think is fine.
Hopefully nobody else was missing. So Rich, when you do minutes, you have to have present said meeting.
Yep.
In order to approve the next one. So you voting this one.
Because they were in different.
Did you get signed in at the town hall?
Yes.
Okay. Jan, did you hear that?
No,
Rich is signed in.
okay.
Okay, minutes for June and March. Let's give them a quick look over.
I just want to make sure everybody's getting them
Being
up.
interrogated. I need the minutes.
It's like wherever it goes, that will be when my eyeball goes. It's just.
I never found it.
You what?
I never found it.
Well, I fixed the oldest one, Bethany's name, I already fixed that, so that should be okay.
So on March 11th,
Yes,
so website report, item number 3, scanning photographs and making them available to all members and eventually getting them on the website and making them available to the public.
right.
So members, website, and public. Where's that? March 3, this one, okay, yeah. Available to all members, and website and public. Jan, do you have 5 Atkinson on the agenda, or on my agenda? Yeah. I only brought it in because I needed the photos to one meeting to fit in the cover.
Having thunder problems. Never did before. Started.
Really? That's weird.
We had one thunderstorm, like in, I think it was like March or something, and
That's it.
I don't know, before that, she'd be like sitting, like say, on the bookcase over there, looking out the window with me. Never scared her at all. It hit, I think it grounded into the marsh, and it sounded like a landmine went off. I jumped right out of the chair, because it was
Yeah,
like
like-
sonic boom.
We lost our TV.
And that did
We
it.
lost our TV.
That was the end of her.
Yeah, there's some people down the road too, so like, I'm like, definitely something came through our neighborhood, and just electric zapped us all, which sucks, because, you know, the TV.
Okay. All right, March minutes, somebody please make a motion. Any corrections on March 11th? Other than the ones, somebody please make a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as revised.
Second, please. Recommend a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Thursday, June 10th, any errors or omissions, changes? I hear a motion to accept them. Rebecca on the motion, second.
I'll second.
Second, Eva. All in favor? Aye.
It reminded me I was going to bring flash drives today, and I didn't.
Huh?
I wasn't here.
He wasn't,
Just reminded me to bring
Which is
flash
why we
drives
still had to
today.
approve the March minutes,
And I did.
because we didn't have a quorum.
Still,
Because I read this morning too.
Sure you read it? Who seconded it?
Yes. You were on the second.
Okay.
Okay, treasurer's report.
And there's two. Yeah. Okay, treasurer's report. Well, we had a pretty slow year. So last fall, just before we started put the lights in the window here, I went out and bought, one of the timers didn't work, I went to set it up, so I bought timers, I can't remember, it's so long ago now, a couple of other things that went along with that. For 4924, and then in May we started getting the schoolhouse here ready for opening up for this summer, and we incurred about $222.70 repairing the front steps. I got new wood, paint brushes, various other things. And then I did get rebids on the portable toilet, and I picked red something or other, whatever it says on the toilet out there. They were about $4 cheaper, but it's a bigger unit, which I like, a little more stable.
It is.
And they're going to clean it twice a week. So, and then the bill for them for this year, I can find, is $187.50. So the price went up a little bit from what we were paying before. We were paying $99 a month, and now we're up to it's on the order of like 135, I think. The website came through at $164.99. We paid that, and then when we were here looking at kind of kicking tabs of what we had left in the way of printed materials, found out we were short on a lot of things. So I went out and got printed versions of it, made originals. Minuteman now has all our originals. So now you just say, print the folder, and they've got the file, and they know what paper to use and everything. So it's all set there. And then I didn't bring one here, but they're over here. You took the pictures? Who took, yeah. Yeah, oh, okay. We had new pictures of the inside of the schoolhouse, and so I replaced the one that was on our folder, our flyer, 4-page flyer. Replaced that so that it's got 3 mannequins in it. It's taken from the same shot.
Tried to keep it
It's hard to tell.
consistent, but
Yeah. And we didn't have the original file, so I did a really high resolution scan, adjusted the color, we've kind of got, oh yeah, these are the, and then we printed postcards. So we've got new lobster things, we've got new 1635 maps, and then at the end here, I spent some money buying something. So we printed all these things. So I purchased some plastic sealable containers that are transparent. You can see what's in them. And
Keeps
they're
it nice
on the
and
shelves in here, right? So those things won't be getting humid and drying out and
That's smart.
back and forth. So as long as we spend $400 on printing, we might as well make sure that when we go to use them, then that all roll up in a ball. Yeah, and that was 8809. Anyway, when you add everything up, we had, on those commitments, we had $678.43 left in uncommitted funds, and Channing is having a sign built for, where in Byfield?
Right at the dam.
At the dam, yeah, Byfield Dam sign, and that was $633.47. I've moved, since it's not done, I moved those funds from last year into next year, to this year, FY 2022, leaving us a balance that we give back to the town of $14.96.
Where's the rain?
I was gonna buy some gum for us. Anyway, gifts and donations, gifts and donations. We came in to be with $1597.65. I deposited $170 already this year.
Wow.
From the schoolhouse donations box, leaving us $1,767.65. And the special article fund we haven't touched, so that's still $34.56.67. So as things stand now, we have available to spend $5,239.28.
Use that special account forever.
Yeah, we just have to think of what we want to do with it.
Didn't you use it for that once?
Yeah, because that was a
Yeah,
special.
yeah, we did that, we bought some books with it, and
Okay.
we did a bunch of stuff in
I feel like
past
I was
years.
just kind of sits, you know.
Oh, no, it used to be more than this.
Yeah,
Well,
We just- yeah, we
it's
did.
not tax money.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
money left over, primarily left over from the 375th celebration.
Gotcha, okay.
So it's ours, so we don't have to worry about
Yeah.
using it.
We get back
every year.
for-
And gifts and donations are the same way, they carry over into the next year.
Right.
Nobody's ever given me grief about
That.
moving it over and saying, why did you spend this or anything like
Gotcha.
that.
It's kind of like a backup plan.
Hmm.
Backup plan.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the treasurer's report.
We need it.
That's year end, so.
Yep.
And we did get our $1,800.
For the year.
So I checked that, and so our balance in the general fund now starts at 0 plus the 1,800, so the balance is 1,800. That'll be the next month's report, because that happened the day after this report. That's it.
Thank you.
Do I hear a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'm gonna make a motion. I'll second.
Second, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I understand from the squabble at the selectmen's meeting that I am, the chair is supposed to vote last.
Oh.
Never knew that.
Good shit.
Oh, so you don't influence.
Maybe.
Right.
Huh.
It's in Robert's rules.
Okay, website report.
I updated the things, I was looking through the list that you sent me, I think some of the problems you have is browser issues. Are you using your phone when you're looking at it?
Oh, heck, no. I use
Because,
my
like-
phone, look at my phone, that's it.
Alright, because when I got to one of these, I was like, this doesn't seem to, I don't see this online. But so I, got rid of Sue and Carolyn's name and the vice chair, and I changed our stuff. I need to still work on the images. I need to obviously add you because you're new, so I'll put you on there. But for the most part, I think I'm gonna need to do some tweaking once we do the images, just because I'm gonna have to add in, maybe a new tab or something, or what to add in, so.
There wasn't that many other things.
No, there wasn't, it was just when I was looking at it, I'm like, I'm not having to, like how you said they all lined up on one side, because it was perfectly fine on mine, so I couldn't figure out what the problem was.
I went back in and it seemed like you said mine's fine, so I closed out, went back in.
And then it was fine, okay, so that's why I was like, I think sometimes when it looks like there's a blip, it's just like a weird.
Yeah, it was really weird, because I clicked on one thing and it would show me something else. And I was like, okay, there's something
Yeah.
wrong with this, so.
But obviously, if there's ever things, point them out to me. Like we're tweaking the website and where it's kind of like, you know,
And I did send a email to Sarah
above the pictures.
Noyes about the accuracy pictures. She's gonna review them and.
And, yeah, I mean, she can say like, don't use this one or that one, and then we can use it just like
But I
that.
think she's probably gonna let us just use, I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many, we're not gonna use all of them.
No, and that's, I just figured that the
But-
best pictures
but-
of like, you know, whatever angles we're
This-
She
using.
has been
My
my
Canada Drive, the Atkinson House by the other room.
Yeah, we took pictures of that. Was it 2 years ago?
Wasn't bad.
Yeah, and when she sent it, you know, give her a year.
Yeah, we
whatever, and I'm hoping she's gonna come through with some good written history.
Good.
Because she said she'd keep an eye out for us. Anything that she thought we could use,
Yeah.
she's gonna pass on,
Sweet.
that we're on.
Did, I saw that house finally sold.
It did sell, I noticed that the preservation restriction, there was some changes, but they left it where, as long as Saya approved it, it was okay. Did you read it?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there's all these restrictions, but it says clearly that if Saya says it's okay, you can do it. So I noticed they took the window out of the dining room and put a door in and added a fence to the side of the...
This is on new business, so.
Sorry, all right, we're jumping ahead.
Oh, sorry.
So we will talk about Act 5 Hanover. Okay, website.
Yeah.
Is there a members picture page?
Do you want us, no, we can add that. Right now, it's just like a list of our names, but do you want us to have like a little
On
tab?
on the 375th website, it was very successful that Chris Drellick did all the members, but it was not pictures, it was pictures of 200, 300-year-old people.
So like we find like a doppelganger of ourselves and then.
So
use
you'd
that?
he'd find sort of like some guy with cyber and
Sure.
in a Civil War outfit would be my picture.
Okay,
And he did that for all the, it was very
It
successful.
was good.
Yeah,
I
I'd like to see if
remember.
we could do
Yeah.
well,
that.
that, I think we could easily do that.
So,
Find your doppelganger in the past and then.
yeah,
All right, that's.
so that's something we can do on.
I've got some pictures from about mid-1800s of a guy that looks just like me, and
Okay.
he's my great-great-grandfather.
Well, that would make sense then if you looked at it.
Yeah, I just found this picture, it's amazing.
I remember it.
Okay,
All right, I like that.
all right, that's good. Correspondence.
Hold on, she's taking
That's
notes.
a cool idea.
One of those pictures on the web, 1635, right?
Yeah, for like under where our names are.
I wonder if you searched out the 375th website.
I
wonder
thought
if
I
it's
couldn't
still up
find
there.
it again.
Yeah, I think it was like little cartoons, figures, one
Oh,
for
cool.
the faces.
Yeah.
And they describe themselves as, I just remember Peg Palmer, she's an herbalist. I'm an herbalist,
Right,
so
you
I
remember.
remember. But it was really fun, the way they did it, so it would be good to, if they did still have it out there.
I suppose somebody would have to be paying for the server space and nobody is, so it's probably,
No, I bet you, oh, you mean up to the 375 one? Yeah. I bet, yeah, it might just like default.
I thought I looked at it a couple of times, but you might have.
Yeah, I'll see it.
I'll
I'll find it
it
out. I'll link it up to us.
Oh, how about one last thing on the website?
Sure.
Last time we brought up backup. In
I
case,
spoke to
in
Matt
case,
about that, and
you
he
get buried
wanted-
somewhere or something.
Right, he said he needed to know how much space we needed, and I said, well, I really don't even know that yet, because I don't even know how much we have. So, and I meant to get one before today, but I haven't. But you have those disc things, we need to.
Oh, that won't do it.
No, but I'm saying, I think everybody should like collect what they have at home,
I
and
should
then
go.
give them to me,
Yeah.
and then I can put them all onto OneDrive, so then we can say, all right, now we know we have X amount of gigs of images here at least. Because he's like, I need to know how much you need first before I can allot it for us,
Oh,
which is kind of like putting the cart before the
But
horse.
you're gonna go buy it for $55.
Yeah, just terabyte, just so we have it, exactly, to be like, all right, well, this is more space than we'll ever need, and then if we can gather everybody, because
Yeah.
everybody has like, you have some pictures at home, I'm sure, she has some pictures at
Oh,
home.
I've probably got 30 folders in my.
And that's
in
my
my
point, you've got
historical
more than
machine.
enough,
Yeah.
and so we can pass that around, collect it all in one spot,
Oh,
give
well,
it to
that'll
Matt.
fit on a flash drive.
Exactly, and then I can say, Matt, here you go, back it up for us. So that's my plan.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Now,
We should run from.
I'm still beating the drum that the town has IT and.
He does, and but that's the whole thing. He's
This-
like,
this is Matt?
this is Matt. He's like, I can allot it to you, but you need to like let me know how much you need first. And I was like, okay, that's super big, but I'll try. So I have to like figure it out first, and then just kind of
I
give it to
don't
him.
know how to ask them that, son, because Lawrence, when you got two whole notebooks.
Well, that's what I said. I was like,
What to
like,
do?
it wasn't terabytes, is that enough? And he's like, that's gonna be too much. And I was like, well, that'll like be enough for us. So I was like,
Everything I do that's historic Newbury, I do in that folder.
okay,
Some
yeah,
of
so
the
you should be able to
stuff's- Some of the
easily.
stuff's personal, but it has to do with old houses and,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and pictures of the bridge and different stuff like that.
I just figure everything that we have,
Now, everything all I gotta do is just
copy it.
grab the folder, drag it over to the
Exactly.
file.
As long as we have, like, Nancy's got
You
stuff
can
on her phone.
and you don't have to back it up, just back it up under line.
So-
Right, well, then, yeah, I mean, that's what I figured, well, I'll
Yeah.
just put it all in the thing and give him that, and then he'll be able
So
to.
Matt's the.
Jan's worried
Yeah.
I'm gonna get fall over dead and.
No, and that's the thing, well, I figure if we have it, at least a terabyte somewhere that's easy, and then if it's backed up safely online, then it's at least in two places,
Yeah.
it's not like, and a
Well,
bunch of
not to
random.
be amusing, but
little
Chris
sticks.
did fall over dead and he took
I
everything he had.
know, we
with him.
shouldn't keep saying that.
So let's,
Don't jinx anything.
let's make sure we have backups of everything. This is my theme song.
I store everything over there because everything gets damp here.
No, which that makes sense.
Terabytes.
You know what I mean?
Images of everything.
Yeah, thank you, and that's my,
I'll get Jan a key to the
Jump.
house, she'll be set.
I'll haunt you.
that.
Okay, correspondence?
Okay.
Oh, is there stuff in there?
Well, we had an email from a Jerry Morrow at, N Heritage Mills, and he was looking to find out about the cider mill.
Oh, yeah, I sent a question to a couple of people that might have an answer. They looked to
I've
see
already
if they
taken
got
it.
that.
It's hard.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, good.
So Eva took care of it because we found out that he's evidently not exactly how he presents himself, and he was, well, you know, snake oil. So he was trying to purchase the equipment even though they had already told him they're not interested in selling it.
Yeah, no,
And he's now trying to come in through us.
yeah, the owner was not happy,
Understandable.
and was told us not to.
Yeah.
So I very nicely said, we have no further information on it. We've contacted the owners and they are not selling it and do not wish to have any
Yeah.
further
Yeah,
contact
I
with
was
you.
one.
So,
Interesting.
I don't know what else we can do.
Using this as an end run.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and this has been going on for years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he first showed up there quite a few years ago and kind of recently himself inside the mill. I mean, had to buy some stuff then, and then she died, and now he's trying to get it out of the family, and they don't want anything to do with him.
Nancy sent us an email to say that at a future meeting, Fred would like to come to talk about the first settler's marker.
Okay.
So,
This,
Which one? One here or down?
I'm
Yeah.
not sure, because I didn't check with them yet.
Okay.
She sent this to me yesterday evening, so I tried this morning, but I didn't get any answer yet, so, I'll call again tomorrow or something.
This is for settlers, the other side.
yeah.
So I'll see what Fred wants to talk to us about, so we can get him on an agenda.
Okay.
Is that it for correspondence?
And then the lady who was just here, you weren't here.
She came for a minute asking about
Yeah.
coming in midweek.
I thought I printed that, but I guess I did not.
I read the.
Or it's sitting on my printer.
Yeah.
So, she works with the school, she's with the school.
Is it Boxford?
No, it's a special school. I can't think of the name of it. If I heard it, I might know what it is, but she just just wants to be able to have the class come in, but she said it would probably have to be during a weekday. And they're all ambulatory, and it's not a big deal, but she just wanted to know if we could make an arrangement for someone to be here for, a couple of hours or something, or an hour or whatever, while they have the class experience the room. And she was funny, and of course we're making a generous donation.
Well, that would be easy for me, to
So,
cross the street. We should figure out how many
I'll
can one
forward it.
person handle.
Yeah, I'll forward it to you if you want to contact her and ask her the quantity of
Okay.
bodies that might be bringing. And then you can feedback and say, it might be helpful if there's, three of us here or something.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Flexible.
I could take care of all the head work, and then somebody could just show up for like 2 hours or hour, whatever. Won't be 2 hours, so we can do 2 hours.
I'm not sure if that is still recorded. I heard a couple little dings, and I don't see it recorded.
Oh, wouldn't that be funny if we ran out of time already?
I don't know how important.
I don't know. How important it is either. Do you want to see, Jim? Right here. Our lucky we're out of space already, or power.
That's
Plug
okay.
it in.
One time I tripped over the tripod, and we got a picture of over somebody's head. It's blinking.
It is blinking.
It's recording.
All right, good.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It could have
I
been.
didn't meet you. Oh, okay, all right. With the mask, I didn't
I've been
recognize it.
mentioning, but I have to continue to
Okay.
send my docs.
No worries.
We are still recording.
And did somebody introduce you officially to everybody?
I just can't wait on.
Okay, so you've met everybody. We come from all different walks of life, and we all have some type of a background pertaining to this business or this operation. So sometimes we meet here, sometimes we meet the town hall. When it's cold out, we can never meet here. So when it's warm, we like to meet here because this is our place versus Sheet Rock Town Hall and being over there. So that's that. So, any more correspondence?
No, I did send a note to our new member and, had everyone to know he was here, so to be welcomed. So,
That's nice.
that was the back correspondence. And then we're on to the next part, I guess.
Done correspondence?
I say, yeah. Well, unless you want to do one Main Street.
Yes.
That'll be new business.
All right.
Okay. Old business, we'll do the Save the Pink House letter from Lisa Mead, Town Council. Jan, did you make copies of that?
It's in your packet.
Yeah.
I got mine.
Well, I didn't get them.
I made a packet.
It should be in your packet.
I couldn't see it. There was a sticker.
At the beginning, at the top of it, it says Pink House. That's your first.
Because information.
Oh, right at the front.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know, I get too much paper all the time. Welcome aboard. Reserve a deposit in your house.
Yeah, get through your binder, you're most likely to need it.
So Jan and I had a meeting with Lisa Mead, our town council, in reference to the Pink House, Save the Pink House group's request. And she was familiar with all of it, and we reviewed everything in detail, and she has followed up with correspondence or meeting with Mass Historical Commission in relation to the Pink House. Federal action by Fish and Wildlife to sell the project is still under review, and that's going forward. They're still working forward towards getting on the National Register. And Mass Historical is willing to wait for the information from Save the Pink House. And such a listing would be helpful to get grants. Qualifying for preservation restriction approved by Mass Historical. Mass Historical has determined that it is not yet in writing that they will approve the preservation restriction placed on the property. This is where the Newbury Historical comes into play. Newbury Historical would hold the restriction once it is written and approved by Mass Historical, and we should encourage Save the Pink House to have, when they do pass the deed on the property, that it would be included at that time to include the new owner. So, Rochelle, did you see this prior to now? Okay, so we just got this last week, and I'm still absorbing it all. But it looks like you, amongst all your other stuff you have going on, your lot you'll have to go to planning and zoning board of appeals.
Yes.
I don't know what an A&R plan is.
I'm happy to bring in a little.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before I came today, so I'm Michelle Joseph, I'm the president of Support the Green House Incorporated, so a nonprofit. And we've been working for 6 years to this end, and we are finally at that turning point where this should be completed probably by fall. Sorry, I forgot I had an ask.
Yeah, it's
Was
okay.
that Michelle?
Yeah, shut a little bit up.
Yeah, I think Deb, so shout out in this direction.
I'm looking this way because then my ear points.
So I read that we've been working for 6 years, and it is right at a turning point. So everything is falling into place where Fish and Wildlife is very happy. They feel this would be a very beneficial thing to trade their acre because it's become such a high value that they can get 200 to 500 acres to serve their mission in the region. And they're ready to go. And so there are some steps to happen. And one of the things is that we submitted to Mass Historic, and I don't know why they say 3, but we submitted, and then there was the pause of COVID. They had asked us to have interior pictures, which we couldn't get till later. So we added them in response in January, let you guys know that we had gone that step in February, early February. And really, the first thing that we are just looking for is that we have been waiting to hear back from you because we do want to send our final, what we believe is our final response to Mass Historic. It's pretty important for us to get there. We're asking not for National Registry, but for a declaration of historic significance on the state level. And what that will do is allow a preservation restriction in perpetuity, which we have already had written up by Eric Dray, who I know Lisa has hired herself. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a preservation expert and a lawyer, and he has written up ours. And so that is prepared. There's a restoration partner who has put up at least $400,000 to take this project on. This is not public information at the moment. And then he's going to have to put an awful lot of money in to restore it.
Right.
And if we get this declaration, besides the 30-year...
All I have is a
So if we are to get our declaration from Mass Historic, besides the preservation restriction that would be in perpetuity, which would be great, it will help relax some of the building codes, because yes, it is in a flood zone. And I have talked to Martha and formerly Sam, Jocelyn, and David, and I've been speaking to the new building inspector and all of that, all the people in the town positions, that this can be subdivided. It would meet their requirements, but because upland shifts a little in size, they said it would probably go to the zoning board, so in order to do a subdivision, we're working this on 3 concurrent levels. While we're trying to get this historic declaration, we have had an appraisal done. We've had all the wetland surveying done that we have paid for. as directed by Fish and Wildlife. And we've signed a contract with them, get the appraisal, find out the value. Once they do, they're looking for land to trade because it can't be sold. We have got the restoration partner who's stepped up to pay that. The question is, can he get the permits he needs? And so we want to hear from Mass Historic as quickly as possible so that we know, will those relaxations on some of the state building codes and FEMA laws, which the town of Newbury is very willing to work with, be able to be done. And so we just would like to, all we are asking for at the moment is to include that you've expressed your support over the years, but certainly recently as, which we so appreciate, as we have really turned the corner here. So my request was, can we just have a letter from the town in which the Historical Commission and the town in which it sits to add to our package? And that is really all we are looking for at the moment, so that we can, and we'd love to send that off as quickly as possible because we have the rest of the package ready and waiting. And then it's great that Lisa talked to the head of MHC. We were hoping to get that fairly quickly so that as the subdivision plan happens, goes through the planning and zoning board, the restoration partner can apply for some permits at his own cost to see, can we do what we'd like to do. So I hope that makes sense, that there's 3 concurrent things going on. They're all moving very smoothly and quickly, but to not be able to submit to that, well, I mean, you can submit to Mass Historic without your letter, but we really like that. So that is really what we're requesting today. We certainly got votes of support from everybody, all the elected officials, Congressman Moulton and, Senator Tarr and state, local, and federal help us. We have gotten Museum of Old Newbury and Newbury Court Preservation Trust to support. So I just wanted to pass around you at least the sketch of, that if our preservation restriction says, this is what it would look like if we didn't have to really raise it too much, and if not, it would just be a few feet. But he still would need to have, that designation would really help a lot. But as you can see, our thing is that the signature silhouette, which has come to be an identifier in this area, remains the same, that it always stays pink, that he does not touch the first 3 sides, except for to restore it, of course. But that, they're not going to blast out the windows to make the most of the views. And everybody is looking forward to, including Fish and Wildlife, that they clean up the back. So he would just square off the back, and then it's like, go ahead, floor to ceiling windows if you want. It's the nicest view.
What's the plan for the house afterwards?
Well, there are some options, but he is going to, it's going to probably return as a residence, as it always has been since 1925. I mean, several families have lived in there, and people would love to see Christmas lights on other.
No, that's what I was wondering, is the goal to be, yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe that was Jack.
But just so you could see that, the whole point of what we've been doing is, A, don't have it torn down, because it means so much to not just our community, but it's already grown in its iconic standing.
It's amazing.
It is.
It's all like all over the world, really.
Yeah, and the whole, cottage industry, so even the Chamber of Commerce president was saying, gee, it's, been helpful economically, these people come out to see it, can only drive by it, so they go and stay and eat and shop and come back to rent or buy. So anyway, I just wanted you to see that the back is going to be quite modest. It will stay the same color, which is also in the preservation restriction. And so, but that is a secondary thing, the town, of course, I believe you guys hold 2 other PRs, don't you, or at least oversee them?
The town holds a lot of
Yes.
PRs, yeah.
Yes. So we know the town will be holding it, and of course, since they have the luxury of the historical commission, you can be involved, but we.
I don't know if the terminology is correct.
Uh-huh.
The deed holds it.
Mhm.
We administer it.
Sure.
I'm not a lawyer, but I think that's how
Yes,
the terminology goes.
yes.
So we're the gatekeeper of it, but it's held by the deed of the property.
Yes,
So it goes on forever.
yes, and it's under the town umbrella,
Now, terminology, we have used 2 terms talking about significance in some of our discussions.
Yes,
Historic significance and architectural
Yes.
significance.
Yes.
Now, at this point, you're looking for a letter of historic significance.
well, Okay, so I did try to make that distinction. I actually talked to somebody who's one of our advisors and said, give me this straight so I can explain it best. So, architectural significance is what I had asked for in the letter that I wrote that was more detailed, because it's easy to say, well, do you want us to declare this historic in our eyes, or, but, you know, it does fit the criteria of historic because it's over 75 years old. In fact, it's almost 100. Secondly, they asked us, MHC asked, could you prove that the porch was filled in over 50 years ago? That would make that a historical change that doesn't alter this very fine example of a foursquare, which is the architectural part. And we found that evidence. So we're good. We had asked originally, do you guys have any evidence? But we found it. So the difference, so it does already meet the historical definition by MHC's, glasses would be good, except for I steam them up. But again, we're not going for the National Registry. So that form of architecture, if you were going to add a line to the letter of support, I did ask, could you say that we think it is architecturally significant, certainly to this area? And I mean, certainly, I just want to make clear, a letter of support from you would be great, period. I said, would you be willing to just gussy it up a little by saying we feel that it's got some significance, certainly architecturally, because it's kind of inarguable that people see this silhouette and know where they are. And, you know, Chronicle magazine has come out and said we want to do, you know, they did a piece on us and wanted to know, you know, what will be the thing, we'll come back out. It's been on the North Shore, blah, blah, blah. And it's on the Scenic Byway, the Essex County Scenic Byway, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really become a marker for this area because of this very highly visible location. And this is, the Foursquare, which could be called common, actually does have, in the United States, there are some historical districts just around Foursquare houses. We have very few examples here in Newbury, West Byfield, and Newbury Port, only a few. And this is the most unaltered example there is, highly visible. The other two are altered quite a bit, and the third, which is the next best, is on the sides, half side side street. So we felt that that was, you know, a good enough, you know, evidence to say that it does have architectural significance to our area. I think that's the key, is that to our area this means something. How can we help save it? And so I don't know if that helps at all. I mean, is there a hesitance about either word?
No, it's, the hesitance is how, this cannot be an opinion of this board.
Yes.
This has to be hard and stone fact.
Yes.
Following the letter of the law. And this is why this has been referred to Lisa Mead.
Okay.
So this is done correctly.
Okay.
And so, I had worries that however we ruled, somebody was going to be mad at us.
I see.
So we referred your request and all your paperwork to Lisa, and we had a meeting with her and asked her, please guide us on how to proceed, because we knew the selectmen are going to be involved, the townspeople are going to be involved, this board is going to be right into the middle of it.
Sure.
We needed to have guidance from Lisa Mead, which is town council.
Yes.
It was approved by the town manager that we met with Lisa Mead, because everybody was concerned. And I was very concerned about how we go about doing this.
Okay.
Lisa Mead, this is the first letter from her. I don't know if she's going to send me a second letter as far as how to proceed. It does say she is going to guide me through this. But I will start out by saying that two things. One, the decision of this board to write this letter will follow the Secretary of the Interior's guide for antique homes, as far as achieving historic significance or architectural significance. And it will be your job to cite in the Federal Register, Secretary of Interior Homes, I'm sorry, I don't have it memorized, what facts make that the historic significance or architectural significance using that guidebook.
Okay. Gee, I didn't realize we were asking something that was so complicated. I'm wondering, because it sounds like that is going to be a process, and what we're really just asking for is, I'm sorry, I thought that, what we really would like to do is not delay any longer sending off the MHC package. So would you at least be willing, as our local historic commission, to say what you guys have written in the several emails, which is, we just support the fact that you are pursuing this, president, or whatever. I wrote in a letter to you. I was just kind of making up the letter that I wrote, so I think I included it here. We can send that package off without a letter of support, having nothing to do with architectural and historical. As I said in my letter, it'd be great to have a letter of support if you're comfortable with these other things. But it just said that the commission supports our submission of the Form D to Mass Historic and the declaration that we're looking for, which is just on the state level, because it's just about getting that preservation restriction in perpetuity, and it is key to being able to have their declaration is key to being able to work with the building issues that will come up here. So we just say we value the support of Finkhouse's hard work and dedication to save and preserve the house in perpetuity. So that I took some of that wording from the 2 or 3 emails where we heard positive feedback from you. And just please feel free to be frank. I don't need anybody to, be polite. Would that be comfortable to just write that one last paragraph?
We can come up with a letter of support for the Pink House project, for the work that you're doing, for the project, and support for the development of the preservation restriction through Mass Historical. And Gian, I hope you're writing this.
Well, we probably can't hear it.
It's on tape.
Well, there's a letter of support. I'll make it in the form of a motion right now. So I'll make a motion that the Newbury Historical Commission, and we'll open it up for discussion.
You can't make a motion as a chair.
Okay.
I read the Robert's rules when you
Turn it over to Jan.
You weren't going to be here.
You can turn it over to you.
Can I reiterate some
Does
of
somebody,
those?
anybody else want to do a motion?
I didn't listen to them.
Make a motion that we write a letter to support the
Effort.
the
Effort
effort to
to
save
house.
the house. Yeah.
We fully support what they're doing. We're in support of the development of a preservation restriction through Mass Historical and all of their efforts. And I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I think that sounds
So
good.
you can make a motion to,
Yeah.
for what
Make a
Jan
motion.
just worked out.
Yes. That's all.
We'll let Jan catch up and then we'll go.
Yeah.
Let's get it all.
Well, I have a sentence, so.
The time is, make a motion, and we,
And send a letter of support of the Pink House effort to save the Pink House. Pink House group.
Oh, should it go to Mass, should the address to Mass Historical?
Not sure.
Okay.
It could be to us, and we'll pass it along, or to Mass Historic, COP, CC,
Yeah.
or whatever you'd like. At this point, we are going to put a package together and just send it off. So you can send it to us. I can,
I have more force to send it directly to Mass Historical and CC.
well, it has to be included with our package.
And
So would that be all right to send it to me, and then I'll print it out and send it?
As you wish.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And anything else? I was just making it up in this letter. It was like, in the end, you just said,
when's the goal to send the package?
yesterday.
Yeah, because the letter that you wrote is a little more intensive than
Yeah,
we're ready to do at this moment, because we've never really, I mean, the last time we talked to you was, we met in the kitchen, I believe, on the second floor of Town Hall, and it had to have been probably like 3 or 4 years, because everybody forgets last year was a year.
yeah,
So,
yeah, it was probably like 3 years ago.
I mean, it had to be like 3 or 4 years ago, so, and, because I was reading this letter, I'm like, whoa, we can't do this yet. We haven't really ripped this apart yet, which is what we have to do.
Okay, well then,
Go line by line through what's significant, does it have this, does it have that, going through the Secretary of Interior, because this is going to now be on us as the Historical Commission, that, and we can't set ourselves up for failure, so to speak, or, you know, do it incorrectly and make a bigger problem. So, but because what I was reading this, which is, you know,
I was just trying to sound official by saying.
yeah, I know, I get it.
Maybe the address of the place.
So what we need to, I'm assuming from what Channing is saying and what Lisa was saying, is at this moment in time, until this group has had a meeting
Mhm.
on trying to delve into the whole tick list of does it touch this, does it touch that?
Mhm.
This, we can certainly send, similar to what I sent you before that said, we support your efforts, we're with you on trying to get the preservation restriction in place,
Mhm.
and, you know, but we can't say that we're declaring this anything yet.
Okay, and nobody's
So,
asking, I mean. it
no,
is-
just
it
so,
is-
you know, we're clear.
And forgive me, it is for Mass Historic to declare that it has historical significance. We were just thinking that if you wanted to add to your letter of support, just so I can make myself clear, because I did not know what the issue was, but I thought, you know, I checked out legally that this is not something that would cost you money and you would not be liable. And I just thought, how was there miscommunication? I kept wanting to talk to you guys because it's so much easier in real time to
Yeah.
answer a question and clear things up.
Yep.
And all it was saying is that it has a meaningful history and architecture to the town. And we have done this Eric Dray is super professional. As Lisa, who knows her stuff, has hired him to do this work. I know that Martha knows him well. And he did all of the research, the studies on the four squares in the area. We included that. We have done a deep dive on the research of that, White House, which is an urban legend. So did the Newburyport Preservation Trust, unaware that we had already done that too, and we compared notes. So we've done so much work on this, but there was a 2-year pause. You know, I used to come every year just to say, hey, you never asked for anything. And in this case, it's just all I would like to do is say, how soon could you feel okay about writing a letter of support so that I can include it in our package and hope to get the show on.
Could I ask a question?
Yes,
Here?
please. Oh, sorry.
That try to get converted. Is it wrong, do we have the right to have an opinion as a historic commission? Not make a rule, not make a finding, but to have a goddamn opinion without worrying about somebody coming down on us.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Well, what is our opinion based
I
on?
don't know, we've never had a meeting.
That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
you've got my opinion, you've got about 26 pages of it.
We've not gone through, a lot of the stuff that you've sent me is just Channing and I have seen, because I said, I'm getting concerned. And he said, I'm reading it, yeah, I'm getting concerned too, that we cannot use this to set a precedent that, yeah, the group came, everybody loves the pink house, so we're gonna just give you whatever you want, and I'm not saying you're asking that, regardless of whether it follows the guidelines. So we have to be very careful. We're now establishing a precedent of, yes, we will give you our support.
Yes.
We're rooting for you, but you have to give us all the details. We have to be able to sit with all the paperwork and say, it ticks this box, it ticks this box, it ticks this box, because otherwise, the next house that comes up is going to say, well, you gave the pink house whatever they wanted.
I see. Yeah.
And my house isn't some world famous thing that they've splashed all over things.
Yeah.
So this is why it needs to be very, and that's what I'm saying to you. We can't say, we have no problem, we'll just send a letter and say, there, go for it, run for it, we're right behind you, because we have not seriously discussed this in like 4 years, and even then, we didn't go through ticking all columns to see. So, am I on
this
track
is-
here
But
with what Lon's saying? We can't say, yeah, we love the pink house, so we're all for it.
Well,
But
we
that's
have
our
a meeting,
personal
we have a
opinion.
meeting to have an opinion.
Yeah,
And we've never
so-
brought it up.
But we can't have a personal opinion
No, no.
in this, I mean, we can outside the door, we're not talking to anybody personally, but in here, we need rules and
No, we're not
regs.
making a ruling.
No.
We're saying we've looked at all the facts and we have this opinion, and I don't even care what the opinion is. I just like to go on record once I've had an opinion.
So.
Well, we've been given a professional opinion of
Yeah,
how to do it.
how to do it, correct.
And we've also been given a professional opinion on who is supposed to do it and bring it to us.
Okay.
The applicant is exactly what Lisa Mead says. And this isn't the first one of these she's done.
Yeah.
So when applicant brings us the list from Secretary of Interior's, it met this criteria, this criteria, this criteria, then we will sit down with it and it'll be black and white. It's a go, no go. It meets Secretary of Interior, or it doesn't meet Secretary of Interior's requirements to be listed historically significant, architecturally significant.
So that's a ruling, and we don't need to make a ruling, do we?
We are a town board, we are black and
We
white.
don't. But we don't even have the authority to make a ruling on that. All we can have give is an opinion that I can see.
We,
Because of.
I think we're all saying, we're kind of saying the same thing, just in a different way.
Yeah,
I mean, our opinion, like, I like the pink house, that's an opinion. That has nothing to do
I
with
was
this
gonna go a little
discussion.
further than that.
No, but that has nothing to do with this discussion, so that's,
No.
when you're saying we can have our own opinion, it's not a like or dislike or whatever. What Channing is saying is that we have to go through and make sure everything is ticked to say, by law,
this house is historically
Yeah.
significant.
all these boxes have been ticked, is what we're saying. So we can argue things back and forth maybe when we have the meeting about, well, I think this or I think that, or can you show me what I'm thinking is wrong on this list? But it's not a like or dislike the building discussion. It's, is the building itself meeting the criteria?
I understand.
Yeah, so,
It's that lost, I think.
okay.
So if Mass Historic, who is the authority, I think, in this
Yeah.
situation,
They're the ones that have to come up with the rules.
if they are the
Find
ones
it or whatever.
who deem it, would that not be this, would you still need to go, like, if we don't need you to say we want it's historically or architecturally significant, but just that we give our support, would that whole bunch be eliminated then and just when and if we get that designation from Mass Historic, we would have at least a 30-year or a wraparound application for a 30-year preservation. We're going to put a preservation restriction on this thing because that is what the point was.
Yeah.
6 years of every stone in my life and now I am on Gray Street.
Sorry.
To save this
Very
house.
established.
That's right. I like the street. You know, we will have the preservation restriction on it anyway. And I did say to myself, what could be their concerns? Like, I just had wanted to come and speak with you guys at a meeting to fill you in on how much has been addressed. And then to be able to say, what are your concerns? And be able to come back and maybe have us do some legwork to save you some time and effort and bring it back to you. So we're now here where at least that letter of support would be fantastic. And see if, send it off to Mass Historic and see how it goes. I know, I've done extensive talking to Martha, to Peter Benet, etc. They all know who the restoration partner is, and he's a really great person. We've done several other historic things. So anyway, everybody feels good about the project, and we just want to take this step.
Shannon's just saying we've got to have a process
Yes,
Yeah.
to come up with the opinion.
yes,
And that makes sense.
okay.
Come up with the letter.
With,
Well,
well,
our, just, we
the
come up with
letters are
our
forces to have an
decision.
opinion.
I think, yeah.
So let me ask, we're happy to do any research you may need, but in this case, if we're speaking just about a letter of support, would that be convenient to, could we get that in a timely way?
It's happening right now.
Most excellent.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
okay.
And, yeah.
What I need a second from the floor, please. Juan's on the second. Okay, now it's open to discussion. Does any other member have any discussion on the letter of support for the Pink House operation?
So I've got a question then. So what we stated here, we can put in a letter the way we've worded it here,
It's just a,
without going to that next step.
Yeah.
we're not mentioning historic or architectural significance. It's a letter of support
Support for their
for the
cause.
cause.
Okay, that's good.
And,
If that's enough, I guess, well, it's better than what you have.
yes, it's like, it's something, so I appreciate that, and, we just want to get that
The
package.
next step is obviously going to take time.
Yeah, because we can't,
Yeah, you don't
we need
have
to
it,
have
so.
this guy, we know if we can do permanent or not, it's got to get done. We've been going on these 3 concurrent paths, and this one has been stalled while the others are moving forward, so we're trying to keep all the timing, so that, especially now that, got their land they want to trade, the boundary line agreements are almost done. We have gotten 90% through the subdivision. We've done the wetland flagging, the subdivision stuff. We've hired Paul Donahue, who they have also hired, and we're ready, to look at it in a couple weeks and send it in to Martha to say, now what,
Do you have somebody that's interested in moving the property already?
No, we don't. And, this gentleman was like, I need to fit into all this, I can't get to the, not purchase, the trade, until I know about these permits, and he's got a couple months to do that because of the subdivision. So, I discussed in great detail about how there might be some variances, but all of that land out there that is not, is grandfathered in. Everyone at the town has been coming to say, here come we. If there's a path, there's always a way, and that's been just incredible to have that kind of support and stuff. So anyway, I just want to say that, once again, I'm always happy to answer any question anytime. There have been a lot of details. We've been heartbreakingly close several times, and the bottom has dropped out based on one of the stakeholders. Now we are dealing directly with Fish and Wildlife. They are hot to go. And they were surprised that we stepped right up and did all the work because we were ready to go. And so there was nothing to tell. Not just last year, it was the year before. We were all set. We had 501c3 to do this. And we just want to get to that place. Anyway, I would be happy if you have any qualms, any concerns, please openly let me know so that I can provide any information to help. Okay.
We're going to call a vote.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
It's unanimous, Jan. Okay, will the preservation restriction be recorded with the deed of renewal?
I believe so, yes, it's got to be right on.
So it's written that you've got a copy of the letter, so you can read that
Thank
afterwards.
you. Thank you very much.
But that's what Lisa Mead is recommending. So it's recorded from day one with the new owner.
Okay.
Goes with it.
Yeah, Stephanie just said, I think there's a 30 PR, it goes back to Mass Historic, and it goes to you guys who sent it to the town selectmen. This is way up the road for the preservation restriction, so yes, there is a process to go through on that. But I did want to let you know that too is written and ready by true experts.
Okay.
And Martha and Lisa both know me, so I felt glad they chose that person.
Right.
And that helps.
Yes, I know, I wasn't thinking to get it right, because I would really like to.
So, in case you don't think we're paying any attention.
Wow, that's all pink house? No.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oops.
Just chatting. I
Cheers.
have.
No, I didn't do that. I didn't like a gavel. It was just empty.
Thinking we might be on the Zoom, I kind of bear try to make succinct bullet points and rather than be, it's easier to illustrate the three concurrent, lines. Thank you very much. Do you want to?
All right,
You
Jim,
have a copy of this letter, right? You have it, did you take it out of the,
Yeah.
because we got it ours. Yeah, okay, so you're good, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll let you run away. Take your water and get your mask off and go out the doors and breathe again.
I appreciate it so much.
We'll be in touch, Michelle, good to see you, take care. It doesn't go, just pull, it sticks.
What was that?
Pull, it sticks.
There you go. You want to-
It's old. Well, it is. It's 1877. Okay. So if you look in your packets that I gave you, you don't want me interrupting, Janet, the stuff tonight.
Yeah.
In response to the question regarding protection of historic properties under future owners, it asks about preservation restrictions and what the conditions are. So it's all in here so we can read this.
Great.
So, because I don't know about you guys, but I know a little bit, but I certainly wouldn't be writing one.
Yeah, it's good to have a refresher always.
So, because I knew this was gonna come up, so.
Fabulous.
And then I do actually have copies of everything about the pink house for everybody, but we're not really ready yet.
No, we'll say that first.
So I'll keep it.
Appreciate that.
I know, she's laughing, well, that's because this,
There's a lot.
well, because this, like 7 copies for every single thing. Yeah, we have a room in my house in the pink house. Now where are we at, Master?
okay, so that is it with the pink house stuff. Okay, on to 1 Main Street. So Jan, we never finished. Can you update me as to the status of that permit?
She didn't get anything?
And if it's,
Like Daisy and Mobile. We have a second spot up there, right? Has to be.
is
Okay.
it in the packet or you just got the permit?
I don't know. Honest to God, I made so many copies of everything, I lost track.
I don't see it.
I don't think it's.
I didn't see it.
No,
I
that's-
was just looking for it too.
I could have sworn I made copies, but I must not have. I'm so sorry.
Alright, I don't know.
Because. No, I'll look through the title again, but we have her email. We have the filled out building form, which I told you about it prior to this, that it's signed by him,
The
Mr.
owner.
Kozal,
Yeah.
who's the owner, and he has authorized her to be his agent, and she has signed it.
Excuse me?
Is the copy of the Patriot property information that's on the DD, the form, right?
Mhm.
Property information, owner of record, but the only thing she did not fill in was reason for demo.
Okay.
Okay, everything else is filled out.
And these are all the pictures.
Those you
I
took?
believe they
I
are
think it's
yours.
half and half because I emailed them to her and then she couldn't figure out how to print them and then she wanted me to email them separately, which was like
Painful.
more than I wanted to do. So then I emailed them all to her again.
So,
And then there were a few pictures that I didn't take because, I wasn't there to like document every inch of the house. So some of them were definitely not my pictures. So she went back and like filled in holes apparently. But I have all the pictures. I don't know if you want to.
I got a little.
Yeah, if anybody wants to look, you want to look to the house.
Everybody,
I do.
The kitchen's horrible.
It, well,
It's like a clip on YouTube.
it's a
No, I
really
didn't see the
interesting.
Interview, and he's in the house, and it shows
They
all
all
that. Did you see that?
No, I have to look it up. No,
Oh, yeah,
I
hey,
didn't see
oh, and that one that's empty with all the bookcases?
Yeah.
It's packed. He's got piles, that's where he wrote
Oh, yeah.
everything.
That's interesting.
still have.
It's an
the link on the
interesting
phone.
space, and not, like, I was really, because I live right down the street, so I've been staring at this house wondering what's going on with it for years. And so then I was like, oh, it's, it's going, it's a while, it's like, oh, I'm gonna, when it's not house, I'm gonna go over there. I just wanna see it. It's like rambling, there's those weird things, you go up to the second floor, there's this giant room, you can tell the beams were repurposed, because you can just tell.
Big box of walls.
Yeah, and, so, like, it's definitely not what I expected at all on the inside.
No, and I have, that Wayne Chase, he has a couple of, genealogy
Yeah,
websites and such. And he looked at it, and he said that it appears to be an 18th century knee wall, Cape timber frame in the front.
oh yeah, and then
Yes.
add on, that's what I,
Yeah, and the
It's-
exterior
It's just one giant addition on
is,
the.
is sort of a Tudor revival,
mm.
which was popular 100 years ago.
It's just the one right next to the.
It's right across
the
from your
George
son.
Across from
Yeah.
your son, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's what, across from the greenhouse? isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I parked in front of your son's house and I ran up the street, because there's like really, because I didn't know that the driveway's not really one Main Street's driveway, it's, like, there's a property behind it, apparently. It's weird.
There's three. They want this house and the two houses next to it that they're buying or selling or something, or that's what the other lady was, the other realtor. Because then they're gonna tear them all down and build something else.
One thing, or
I
the
can't
development?
Really?
Yeah, this is it, lot 1, 3, and 3.
Well, I think he's got a lot of land there. So I think that's what it is. I think the idea is that they wanted to put multiple houses on the lot.
Michelle Terrio was the other realtor. We are purchasing the property at 1 Main Street as well as the adjacent land of 3 and 3R with the hopes of tearing down this unlivable house and building a new house there as well as on 3 and 3R Main Street vacant lot.
I don't know if I would say that it's unlivable, but it's definitely,
That sounds like 3 houses.
yeah. You can tell their goal is to put 3 in the lot.
Well, I think there is a restriction on
How much?
3 and 3A, is it? That there can only be one house on each of those. But then if you went down this one, that would be the third.
Right. And like I mean, 2 lots down or 3 lots down, the 1700s house in Georgetown just got ripped down.
Mm-hmm.
And there, I mean, it's,
I was standing there when they were
yeah,
going in and taking bites out of it.
chunks out of it.
I started to do the deed work. I didn't know that deed work with the name.
So Jack Rybicki emailed me about it. He says the original structure, the one little end of it, is early 1700s, and he wanted to know how much of the foundation was left of that.
That is so low.
So like this part of the house, the very front.
Yeah. Is there a basement under there, or?
Yeah, I went into the basement.
There's
Lot
one.
one.
I don't know technically what part I was in,
The basement's kind of scary.
but the basement wasn't as dungeony as my basement. Like, it,
No.
you know, I walked down there and I was like, oh, this isn't that bad.
All watered up.
Yeah. My
Not
basement.
as fun as
I
the
don't
one
know if
at,
I have a,
at Governor's that we went in.
No,
That was kind of spooky.
I don't know, I would say that this house is close to the weirdness of Governor's in the sense that it's like, you know,
did
had a
you
little
look
bit of
at
awkwardness to
look
it,
at the
but
windows?
I mean, I'd like to get those windows.
Roof one.
Mhm.
like the second floor, that's the,
When you see that
that's
foundation.
texting me.
It's
That's the
even
master
bigger
bedroom. You
inside.
never, like, you have no idea this is what it was from the road, because it's like way in the back, all, you know,
Yeah, it's either,
Yeah.
it's low ceiling.
crazy.
Wonderful.
But like, that's what I'm saying, like, these are all the beams, you can tell, those aren't original, those are pulled from something. Was there a barn here that they had at one
Yeah,
point?
recycled beans was very, very common.
Yeah,
Beans were they were traded and traded.
always.
Yeah.
Especially to get that Tudor style.
But I mean, if anything, you know, there's a ton of stuff to salvage, but
Well, let's think, this schoolhouse was built because the one that was already on this land
right.
was torn down and the wood was sold, so they could afford to buy new wood to build this one. So who bought that wood?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So somebody that has 1700s house that wanted to have replacements or whatever.
In 1800, Edward Dole bought a salt plant on Plum Island, tore it down, brought the stuff over here, added to the back and the side of the house and built his farm. With that, it's all old beams. You can see where there's places where something's supposed to come into it. Well, it's recycled wood. And these are beams like
It's
that.
the floor of the schoolhouse. One half is original, the other half is from an 1877
Another
schoolhouse.
school, yeah.
That was in Salisbury that they found in the salvage yard. And that's how we have this thing back together again. But it's still the same age as the original sign.
It's like my house, of course.
So anybody have any questions about this before we go further into this demolition permit? It's just a bunch of additions.
Yeah.
There's nothing
I mean,
It's an
architecturally.
interesting house.
It's
It's
interesting.
salvageable.
it's an interesting house. Do I think that somebody's gonna go in there and put forth the effort to make it?
Would they though?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the right person, like, I think realistically, if somebody put forth the effort to pull those bushes down and stuff, and you could really see the house, I think people would have a different interest in it. She said that she's got some builder that wants to, do the builder thing, so. I'm sure that's the goal.
It's pretty significant.
I think that,
His role in American education.
literature was the owner.
Yeah.
I think his dog is buried there.
Yeah, doggy, I saw that.
It was in one of the pictures you sent me, the grave.
92.
92 what?
The dog
1992, the dog died,
Oh,
and he's buried on the property.
80 to 92. Doggy, sorry. Which is hilarious. I mean,
It's not a historic or architectural asset to the town,
no.
and that's our job to protect those.
Like, I think the front door is really gorgeous.
Yeah,
yeah.
But that's about it.
yeah.
Hopefully
You know what I know?
hopefully somebody's gonna come in and take it out and save some of the stuff.
Yeah, but if anything, it needs to be
Yeah,
salvaged.
those windows look like there might be lead.
Those
lead
guys
windows.
from Norris will come in there and
I thought so
pull it
too.
down.
The guy had looked at it, he didn't think so.
Oh,
Which
really?
must be the take ones. They
Um,
put the lead banding on top of the glass.
Yeah.
let me see if I can see. No.
Okay, we're gonna,
Is there another thing to do about it, or just?
we need a motion from the floor. Once we get the second, we'll open this, any further discussion, then we'll vote. Do I hear a motion to grant the demolition permit for 1 Main Street?
I know, I
I
feel
can't do
like there's part of me
I
that
feel like
can't
somebody
say
should
yes
at
to
least
it.
reach
It's such
out.
a unique house.
Well, it's not just the house, it's the old,
Just don't tell my wife I heard this.
these little retreats, that's his little rental retreat. Somebody might think that's worth preserving,
I know.
and without asking.
I don't see any reason not to, though, that's the problem. It's like,
It's some antiques added on to some antiques.
Yeah.
That's it.
that's where, the purist in me is.
This is historic commission, not the funky house commission.
Yeah, that's where it's like,
You gotta remember, as we process these permits, that we have to be realistic, that there's somebody, A, is going to save,
save it, yeah.
it's not saving it on that land. It's saving that structure
So,
and giving them time so they can move it somewhere else.
The-
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So we need to be realistic, that it's a shame, but I don't see anything else.
No.
can we add to the motion, maybe that we make a recommendation that they save some of the
Salvage any
the
materials.
salvageable materials, but that door is incredible, and there's.
Well, there's a lot of salvageable materials, and that's really all I really see.
And I'm sure they
is
probably
salvageable.
will, but it would be nice to go on
I'm
record.
sure they probably will. I see the ball coming in one big strike.
No,
Well,
they.
the house down the road, they just came in and they just.
No, the guy from Norris went in there and he pulled a lot of stuff out
Oh,
of
he
it.
pulled it out, okay.
Yeah, no, he
But
went in
They
and,
wouldn't say the meetings, because they were
They
taking
didn't.
bites on the side of the house.
go over there with screw gun and pickup
Yeah.
truck is fall out. So that hurts.
So we can't have we either demo or we don't demo, it's not, this isn't like, this is significant structuring on, this is,
Yeah. It's not.
We need to recommend a motion.
I'll make it even though I'm prejudiced.
Motion, I need a second, please.
I'll second.
Second, okay, floor is open to any further discussion.
I'll be
The
over there.
building inspector has allowed us to attach recommendation, should I use the word recommendation? Is that?
Requests?
Request to
Request.
salvage
Yeah.
No, I
materials.
think it's, no, that's going the wrong direction. It needs to be just passive. It needs to be, we wish you
Well,
would please.
what did we say for Elm Street?
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Elm Street is, all we can do is put a note on
I'll look
permit.
and see what we wrote for that, and for the note on that,
Yeah.
because it was something that we would appreciate if they would, you know,
Recognize-
salvage those, the box locks and the the 1600s things and keep them
Yeah.
on site for, well, that's what we did
We
for
can't
the,
tell them to, but we can
No.
request, that it would be
recommend, I
nice.
guess recommend is the word.
Yeah.
That architectural and antique accoutrements.
Yeah, that's a word.
Accoutrements
Be salvaged.
be, if at all possible, be saved.
Antique and,
Architectural,
I mean, just that stone wall's so cool.
well, they can't touch the
Yeah.
stone wall, it's against the law.
No, I know, but I was like, my point, that I hope they fix it, and you can tell snowplows did it a few times. You know, that corner's all angled.
Pieces,
I found out that
items.
the only stone walls that are
Elements.
salvageable or protected are the ones that go around the outside boundary. Stone wall goes through the property, it's not
boundaries.
protected.
Interesting.
Only if it's a boundary.
A boundary, right, it was everywhere, you know?
No.
Well, I gotta.
No, it was in that webinar.
Yeah.
You didn't-
I don't, no, but I know,
I just saw
other
it.
things, so that's interesting, so if your property has one that cuts through, like, so if it was an old.
No, well, it's like if you got a rectangle
Yeah.
and somebody builds a wall across the center of it, that's not protected.
Just
These are
Just the boundary.
Okay,
the
so
boundary
Yeah.
walls.
this table is is surrounded by a wall, and you wanted cows over there, and you threw a wall up
Yeah.
there, and you wanted
Yeah,
corn
I
over
don't know.
here, and the chickens over this side, but those walls in the middle don't count as boundary walls.
Gotcha.
I found that out at my daughter's house when somebody bought the property in the back and they took a bulldozer and went right through all these stone walls. Well, they were all this way to the property and not at the bottom.
A little off subject, but the boundary walls, like Parker Street, those stone walls are boundary walls, right?
If they're on
Parker
Parker
Street?
Street, they are.
Yeah, well, 17 Parker Street took theirs out, and I looked online, and they didn't go permanent, take it out, but it's gone. So what do we do about that?
You can contact the state and tell them that the owners removed a boundary wall, and they will charge them their $10 fine.
You can't even
I
answer.
am not kidding you.
Well, I just, in the front of my book, Boxborough has this stone wall bylaw.
Yes,
Okay, that's what I
You
was
gave that
wondering.
to me.
yes, I.
So, all right, we're getting off subject.
Yeah.
I'm finished.
Yeah.
All right, so we'd like to recommend that any
Salvageable materials.
antique and/or architectural elements are
Salvage.
possibly salvaged, are salvaged, or can be.
Saved.
Yeah.
What do they do, just sell
They'll call in like the Maurice guy, and he'll come in, and he
Yeah.
puts forth the effort to pull all the shit out, and then he gets to sell it.
them? Right.
So it's no money, they don't have to deal with
What
it.
their historic importance, how's that? We'll just give it a
I
little
don't
time.
totally do that. Be like a junkie, I wouldn't want to sell like that.
Without any-
Let's go to vote. All in favor of granting the demolition permit for 1 Main Street? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Unanimous?
Go down there with a candle.
Done.
And yes, I will go, you want me to go online and do it, or are you gonna do it? Oh, sorry.
Will you get, I don't know how you attach the memo.
Well, I'm gonna just have to scan the whole thing she sent, I need that back with all the photos on it. I was, she said she couldn't attach it. And I believe her because I couldn't attach something either. So I am gonna have to attach it somewhere as a PDF and try to get it on the stupid permit link. Good luck.
But
Oh,
if
technology.
if you have, what's it called, the PDF company, Adobe, if you've got that, you can merge.
If you have actual Acrobat.
Acrobat, yeah.
I tried, you know, we have see this like massive form,
Hmm.
it wouldn't take it.
Interesting.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, if I could scan this into a zip file and try to attach it that way to something, but it wouldn't let me put 2 pages on. I had to come back 2 days later and see if it would like me better.
Yeah, you gotta find out.
And I got it attached on the second
Yeah.
shot. She said she had trouble. I think she figured we wouldn't believe her, but I believed her because I had trouble, so. I will get this attached to somehow to the building permit and we will approve, and in the comments I will put what we just recommended.
Okay. All right, other new business. We did that. I had a phone conversation with Chairman, the Select Board, Greco, and I expressed my concern with the building inspector's office and lack of administrative assistant in there, holding up paperwork and not responding to emails. And she said she would look into it. At that point, they did not have an administrative assistant. And I said, well, that doesn't mean we don't go forward. I said we had concerns about a permit at 78 Elm Street, and emails went unanswered. And that is taken care of now. I said, when this stuff happens, I said, we need to be in sync with the building inspector's office constantly. So when there is a permit missing, or if there's construction going on in an antique house, we need somebody we can call. We need somebody that's going to react
Be able to pull information.
and pull a stop work order. I need to know how we did a stop work order gets pulled. And if we need a stop work order on Friday 3, I need to know how it's going to get done. So,
Probably never gonna happen.
yeah. So,
Well, will we get Peter's contact information?
if it's like the other inspectors, it has to go through the police station and then they call them, I'm not sure.
What, I'm just amazed we don't have our, like, we still sharing a guy? Or do we have our own guy now? Because weren't we sharing somebody?
No, that was Sam, that was.
No, Sam.
Yeah,
So now we
that
have
was-
our own guy, but it's just for Newburgh, right?
Right.
All right, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
He is just for Newbury, he's not
Okay.
part-time, he's full-time.
Yeah.
And he also worked in Newburyport.
Okay.
So what we don't have at all as of this afternoon is, brain just left, Conservation Commissioner anymore.
They left?
The new woman
Oh.
left. The one who replaced Bill.
She's acting so off.
She's moving to, I don't know, Virginia or something. She took a job. So now she's gone, so they still have we still have no Conservation Commissioner
Okay.
as of to this afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Well, hopefully we don't need one.
For those conservation restrictions that we have.
We do preservation restrictions. Hopefully we don't do too many, unless it's park.
Usually if somebody has one, they have another.
Yes, correct.
That house
Correct.
has conservation restrictions and preservation restrictions on it. Unfortunately, the lawyer was the one who helped them.
Yeah.
That's strange as all.
Oh, I didn't.
So.
Oh, really, Connie?
Really?
Connie said something?
I believe on the preservation restriction.
We need to bump up on that terminology.
Well, I'm
Lawyer
trying.
to
How-
manage.
who exactly, a restriction, it's, the Lisa Mead said it's on the deed, which I understand that, because I read the 78 Elm Street, and I understand one board in the town, or it falls backwards to the selectmen if it's not assigned to a board, administers that restriction. So, in the event of changes or process, that board, like 78 Elm Street's on the planning board. So it's on the deed, but the administrator is the planning board. Sometime we're gonna have to polish up on how we put all this in.
Well, you need to read this 2-page thing that I gave you today
Okay.
first,
Okay.
because it's kind of like,
Cheat.
well, it is. What is a preservation restriction?
Okay.
Well, I know what I think it is, but what
But
does
that's
the law mean?
definition.
What properties are eligible? Who can grant one? Who accepts it? How is it conveyed? Which is what you're saying, right? What conditions? What's a particular set of preservation standards? It's all clear. And I believe I got that from Mass Historical at one point.
The Bushy property across here had a 30-year restriction on it.
I just waited.
And the trustees held the restriction, but it ran out, and of course, as soon as it ran out, it got divided into 12 lots. And then the one over here, we just got this one a couple of years ago before the people had owned the house, before the Kings did.
Yeah.
And we took the 5 acres, we put that out, and it's on deed, and the trustees are the holder of that restriction too, and that one.
The trustees.
This one here is kind of interesting, so the trust, that means that the trust held the
That's
restriction.
right, the trust did.
And the trust is the common.
Gotcha.
So I'm starting to look.
I know, there is some good stuff
I'm not
in there.
kidding, no, I'm about a reminder of all the preservation restrictions and conservation restrictions that are in this town on these properties that I know of so far.
Just keep
And-
like a,
Well, because if there's a preservation restriction, we need to know.
Yeah.
I mean,
It'd be
because
nice
we
to know
need
if it
to
was
be on
on the
board with
deed.
that.
Is it on the deed?
It has to be.
It has to be on the
You
deed.
know, I was
You know, the
If
deed-
not, it's just, but, and it depends, if it's held by Mass Historical, they have to have signed it, or else it's not legit yet.
Mhm.
interesting.
And that's part of 78 Elm Street's problem, I think. So, you have 30 years or some ridiculous thing to fix anything, it's not right, so you say.
That's my anytime.
Okay, so is that like next week? No, 30 years, you know, but, we haven't ever delved into that, and we need to, as Shannon said, dive in. So this was like the beginning cheat sheet, okay?
So,
And then what else did I give you? Oh, the Newbury Reconnaissance Report, did I give you guys this?
I think you did a long time ago.
Okay.
Not today.
yeah, it's in front of you.
Okay, so we need to, so if you can't find it, or dig it out, or I'll scan it. And the only other piece that I'd like to talk about quickly is, we discussed at one point, is having a one building historic district.
For us here.
We touched on it just once, like saying, oh, we could probably do that at least. And it's been done. It's been done a lot. Some towns have like 5 or 6 at least buildings that are a one building local historic district.
I'll tell you, you can get that house, that house, that house, this house, that house, my house, and this house included in that, because everybody on these houses will sign it, will approve it.
Yeah.
Well, this one, we're the only
Well,
ones,
we do this one.
the town owns it, so we could it's like, goes right in through, and according to some of the things on the listserv, they're all, Mass Historical, go for it, just, we get it, we'll do it. You get it, you get the paperwork, we'll put it through. It's not like needing 18, 20 houses to go through and explain all this stuff and do all these things. It's a one-shot deal.
Everybody that's
So,
included has to sign
I gave
off.
you all this 2 little piece thing that I have from Mass Historical, just, because what is it, what do? It gives you the flow chart, kind of like our demolition delay bylaw, how to go about it. So we can think about these things. Because this building is not on anything.
Yeah, we should do it.
And
The
it's-
property is nothing.
No.
It's a good test run to learn how to do all
So,
that.
and then there's other things that are in this town that are protected by preservation, conservation, recreation lands, and this, I gave you this thing, it's a list of a lot of the stuff that's in the town, so it has nothing to do with anything other than we really should know about it.
What's the upper green, Jan? That's got some kind of.
That's the National Historic Registry District.
Registry, thank you, that's one.
At least you're keeping it straight, because I can't keep it straight.
Well, because you can't be on the National Historic Registry if you aren't on the Mass Historic.
Right.
Right, just to take steps to get there.
So if they've approved, the National Registry's like, oh, well, they must have done a lot of the work we need already because it's gone through their state. And that's not just this state, it's, so they have a few, I think, other requirements. And then, but then I have the thing, it's like this thick. What was done to get it on. So, and someone started this. Right after the, one of the historical commissions started it, like in the 90s,
To do a district here?
to get this
one building.
place on the Mass Historical Commission, and it just, they needed something else, and probably something else came up and the commission just moved on, or whatever, I don't know, but because they had all the stuff from the restoration listed and everything,
Yeah.
so we may be
Halfway there.
3/4 of the way through to push the building in.
Yeah.
But I'd like, if we're gonna push the building in, to get the whole down green.
Well,
Yeah.
Lon thinks he's
Preserve.
got 10 neighbors.
But that's
that
to
want
do-
Just at least the houses around here, I
The
know
whole
everybody here will sign.
area.
But if you got it, let's do
And
it.
probably the one across on the corner there, too.
But
Artist
every
is
house in the area has to approve it.
Next.
So if Barton's house, the new owners don't,
She-
I know, but say they don't want anything to do with it, you can't get it through.
We just can't get that house.
Well, you can't say the district goes like this.
If you could
Most
do
of the
one
congressional
house.
districts do.
Well,
If you
yeah.
do one house, you would look at
I mean, no, one house, it's this house, this is it,
I
this
know.
is the whole district, but you,
Well, she
it
says
makes
she's,
it way more difficult if you're gonna leave one house in the middle of the thing, like, say the Cape over there. One house, was it one house being a little Cape house there?
oh, over here, oh, Kathy's house?
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, it's not significant about my house, I'm not going through all this stuff.
Yeah, that's a
And
bit.
that, I mean, you have it makes more problems, so,
Gotcha.
Well, that house is on the green, so
no,
it's up, so.
but
Well, that's
Oh,
promising.
that could be a different one.
we gotta try to get some, we gotta try to get some of this stuff done.
I'd love to.
I can't stress enough,
And if we need help, both of these
because if
gentlemen
that had
will
been
help.
on, it would have made a
They want-
difference
no one
in
would
causing
do it.
delays.
Okay.
It wouldn't have stopped it probably, but it would have caused delays. And if Robin's house was on and they wanted to they can get funds for certain things for preservation to the houses. So there is like a give and take of it. It's not like, and what was the biggest question people asked us in the meeting about the demolition delay bylaw? Does this mean I can't put a fence up?
Right.
No.
Okay, so two things to cover on the new business. Continuation of what we were just talking about is the National Registry Historic District on the Upper Green that does currently contain the town hall, previously known as the first floor of Grange Hall. That is in the National District, and that is protected by the National District. And every piece of paperwork that I've seen about this proposed new town hall center,
Well, they just ignore that.
it has not been on any piece of paper
Yeah.
there at all. I mean, it's written by an architectural firm. I mean, there's no mention of it. So this is,
Shocking.
that building has to follow the National Historic District in, we're not gonna get into it tonight, but it has to match that historic district. It can't be modern, it can't be of a different line. We've got pictures of the original Grange Hall, it was 2.5 stories tall then. And it's, I would be under the impression that this board would strongly recommend that it's gonna follow the original structural lines and architectural age and accents.
Look at the bank.
Yeah.
He did a good job
You know the bank?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there. That was,
You weren't here, but.
No, but I remember when they.
But that's what it looked like, well, pretty much what it looked like when it was a house.
that was
So,
the house he
Yeah.
grew up with. Pete Moss grew up in that house, the president of the bank.
there you go.
That's why he built the bank to look like that.
So if anybody broaches, I mean, I'm sure we're gonna have official discussion, but if there's a casual discussion, that's a National Historic District.
Yeah, no interest in.
And can't be changed. So,
I'm really surprised that like no one's even
I-
brought that up.
And all the money that has
Yeah.
gone into the architect, and it's never come across us.
Well, it did because remember I had, what's his name? I can see him. I want to say Fields, but that's not his name. His mother has all the pictures. He had Donnie, I can't think of it. But we were trying to find the pictures at the time when they were going through that. We found the pictures that shows the green, the end of the green with the fountains and
Oh,
stuff
okay,
on
I
it.
got those
And you can
pictures,
see the building in the background. And it was a 2-story building which burnt. Then they built the Grange Hall, which I think part of that burnt.
Yeah, they built the Grange Hall because they couldn't have any parties. No dancing allowed at Parker Hall. And that's why they built the Grange Hall, so they could have dances.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
so the Grange Hall was the second structure?
No, the
Grange Hall was the original.
Parker Hall was
Plaza was
up
where the
close to
cemetery,
church.
where Parker Cemetery is across from the church.
And they wouldn't allow you to have any parties and dances in there. That's why they built the
Then the
Grange Hall.
second story of the Grange Hall burned off and then they just shortened it.
Right.
And that's what's there now, the shortened version?
Yes.
Oh.
So there is pictures of the original structure,
Yeah,
two
we've seen that.
story. Maybe we can scare that up, because people are gonna be asking us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we know.
We do it? All right.
because when the whole thing was going around and round about doing the triple play, as I like to call it, police, town, and fire,
Yeah.
and every picture that they kept producing looked like town hall was now city hall. The same way they wanted to put brick sidewalks all over the green. No,
Yeah.
you do that in Newburyport, do it in Boston, you can't do it here.
All right, next item under new business is just a brief check on 5 Hanover. The Atkinson House has changed hands. Now, there's a preservation restriction on the house. Now you say what did they change it? The restriction, how's it work?
In the preservation restriction states that if the past owners, Sayre and Burton's, they can give permission for changes. Even though they list a bunch of changes that you're not supposed to make, it's all the condition. Do we have a copy of that?
Not in my hand, but I have it at home.
But they
I
can
sent it to all of
still
you.
approve changes.
After they sold it?
Yes.
That's cool.
I know, it's the first time I've ever seen it. And I wish I had it with me, I don't have it with me. But they can approve.
So you said they moved a window and a door and put
Yeah,
fences?
there was a window in the dining room that faces the green. They put a door in there, and it looks like a patio, because they put stockade fence up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep saying they put a fence up, and everybody keeps saying to me, there's no fence there.
Well, it's hidden in the trees.
I said, you can't see the house on the road anymore,
It also,
because there's a
you can
fence
see-
there.
it looks like they might have taken the gardens out, because you can, and I don't know if the gardens are back there. Yeah, remember?
Yeah.
Our gardens that go back there.
As Is that part of the conservation
I don't know,
restriction?
I'd have to look at it again.
So which door you said is gone?
No, it was a window in the dining room side.
So the problem with these preservation restrictions is, well, one, who holds it? Who's the it's on the deed. Who's the administrator of it? Is it planning board select, it falls on the selectmen if it doesn't say. And they haven't been writing, until recently, they haven't been writing historical commission on them because there wasn't a historical commission.
Yeah, and it's kind of a private deal, so who would enforce it? Because that's a private sale. So who goes in and
So-
enforces it?
So we need to
When it's
find out.
created, that preservation restriction was not created for that sale. The preservation restriction was placed on the property
A law.
by Rick's family or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And was it, but is it really approved by Mass Historical?
I can't remember now.
I can't even,
I
I wish I.
You know why? Because when I was making the book, I was reading through them, like now they're all like spaghetti in my head now, so. But I sent it all to you. You all have a copy of it in your email. Shannon frowns. Like, you've got 2 copies because you said I can't find it and I resent it.
Okay, all right. All right, so it's everybody's homework to read that for 5 Hanover. And we need to find out.
Oh, 5 now.
5 Hanover.
Atkinson House.
Atkinson House, 5 Hanover. And we need to find out what controls that restriction.
Yeah, I read it too.
And if it's modifiable remotely, then we need to know if somebody has.
Yeah, she
Because,
has.
I mean, fence, you don't need a building permit for a fence, but you need a building permit for a door and a window to change.
And there's none on the system.
So, and this is the big question, I mean, when this stuff happens, there's a preservation restriction on the house, and the stuff being done to the house, what's the next step? Are we supposed to,
That's if we.
the administering board has to put a stop, have the building inspector put a stop work order on it until they have the appropriate permits.
So are they living there?
Yeah.
People?
I don't know, they put that picture out and.
Yep, and the person,
It says
and
they
I
can
quote,
update the kitchen.
is very historic and preservation minded and all this stuff, and yet I heard that they were gonna be doing changes to the bathroom, the kitchen, and there is a thing in the preservation restriction that says they can add a porch onto the back where I guess one was gonna be put and never did. But see, my question
There
is,
used to be a whole house attached to that house.
where's the front of the house?
It faces Green Street.
Yeah.
That's what the face is Green Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the barn is here,
Mm-hmm. Faces Hanover, yeah, faces Hanover, barn does.
yeah, the barn doors face here, but the house is like
Over here.
this way, right?
Green Street.
So it's going that way, right? I mean, it's facing that way, okay.
Yeah,
Like
it's
towards the milestone, you
Yeah.
would say. So the fence is like right across where you could see.
The fence is right
You could like almost see the entrance, but not quite, but you could see the house.
You would
So like
think
it's
with,
going across this way?
Facing Hanover in the house, facing,
Is that Hanover?
he said,
Yeah.
or whatever.
I know that.
Green
It's
somewhere.
really-
I
Yeah.
don't look like my Hanover.
I think when I read 78L, that no matter what they're doing, they're supposed to go through
Pretty front door?
and get permission before they start doing anything. Because it has the preservation restriction. And I think they're supposed to go through us as the planning board before they even start anything. The
Yeah, I'm gonna-
system does not work.
We're gonna have to just read it over again and.
So this is better, do you need this one?
Yep.
Because that's the
That
other one. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that one better. Interesting.
Kind of ruined that whole
Yeah.
room, yeah.
Okay, here we are.
And there was a nice little, I don't know,
Jing, the
there
Jing.
was that corner.
So here's the fence.
You know,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, nice.
And I was parked in the,
See? Yeah, that's
you know
hard
where
to
the
see
three
from the
trees
green.
are missing on the green?
It's the
I was
worst
told-
side, that was the worst side to touch.
And they're saying,
Have you seen the fence?
I didn't see anything.
Have you seen the fence they put up?
No.
Right here.
Drive by there. It's hard to see until you stop and get out of
Let's
the
go.
car.
What is it, 78L?
It's
No,
like, it looks so
no, five
perfect.
Hanover.
Oh, 5 Hanover, okay,
It looks so perfect.
yeah. Oh, my
for
God.
I know.
Where's that in front of? What
The
direction is
house,
that?
in
It's
front
right,
of the house.
on Hanover Street.
You know when the three trees are gone off the upper green on Hanover Street? Where people mostly all park because the trees are down there? I was pulled up, not as far as the Mustard Lane there or whatever. But
It's ugly.
Trying to see if I can find the same angle.
So show me where the fence is on this.
to see, that's the barn.
Right.
Okay,
And see, there's the fence.
yeah.
Along this way?
Where's the
Little
the other
section
fence is
off.
way out here.
What would they want a fence for?
Well, they took a window open the door, and that wasn't done.
So basically, they put it along this fence?
No, you gotta come back here.
Oh, all right, so it's on this side.
Because I was looking up the driveway.
Oh, that's got a roof
Oh,
up on
okay,
the
okay.
garage.
Okay, so I can zoom in on the fence, because that fence we're not worried about, it's still there. Because that one says it can't be, something has to be on
It's
it
got the signs still.
and everything.
Such a cool old house.
All
My
right.
wife loves that barn. It's barn is incredible.
I have a painting of it in my house.
Do you really?
Yeah. I found some paintings, watercolor stuff that is, I'm like, that's Evan's house, I know this.
I got the crow.
All right, so where do we stand?
We're good, right?
I have, one thing,
Sorry.
Coleman Road,
Yeah,
Coleman Road,
Coleman Road,
the Witchstone,
Right.
and how to preserve it, but not just that, that whole road.
What are they gonna do with it?
That's the first road ever commissioned, like 1639, the Bay Road.
so Coleman Road is part of the Bay Road.
yeah. No.
No, is it? Here it is, yeah, sorry, it is. Here's a little map.
They road goes through like
It
that.
starts at the Jewel Mill, goes down Coleman Road. I didn't print out, a copy for everybody, but, yeah.
Goes all, goes,
That map's not
looks
worse.
familiar to me. I know that map.
It starts right at the Rowley line. Right,
Because they're, what are they putting, 15 houses back
Right
in
here.
there? That's gonna be interesting, watching that. Are they still?
Bay Road goes right through the center of Doves, crosses the street.
nobody
You
covered
know
it.
which house?
But
Which
before
house?
us,
Where the father stone is in the
Yeah,
wall,
yeah.
that property got sold.
Yeah, I read the thing in the paper.
Yeah.
starts
It
at
doesn't.
the Rowley line at the Met.
Yeah.
At what the Pearson Mill, it was the Nelson Mill. That's where it starts, that little bridge.
This is the Jewel Mill today.
Right, and then goes,
Goes,
doesn't go all the way over to Coleman, it goes right over the hill.
no, it goes around. This map is so bad, it's got the crease right where it is too. It goes over that little bridge by the Jewel Mill,
Yeah.
straight down Coleman Road.
I don't know about that.
Well, read that, it takes us from here, exactly where it starts, and it gives you the points.
Did you send everybody that?
So what's-
I tried.
Oh, you tried?
Just because
Yeah,
it's
you're
gonna
gonna,
be
you're gonna give it to me,
Okay.
so
because of the father
I,
stone and stuff.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna move it, I think, because they're
Well,
gonna have to.
Well, they're gonna set up a special place for it apparently, and that has access to the
Well,
public.
we should be able to.
Well, I mean, that's what they're proposing.
No, they're not moving it, and everything's staying right, nothing's being
It
touched,
should be staying.
nothing's being moved.
Really?
Where's that?
It sounds like they really want to move it. That's
no,
the
they
problem.
don't, he does not want to.
He doesn't want to move it?
No, he really does not want to move it. And his neighbors, who are right on the other side, but share the wall, were at the last meeting I went to. I didn't go last night because the cat was freaking.
Right.
But they had the public meeting, saying people should be going to these things, people.
I was at
Planning
a different
board.
meeting last night. I have other meetings. I can't be at every meeting.
I know, I hear you.
Right. the camera's still on, don't leave it.
So, so that, you know, you can know, because I introduced myself to the gentleman and he was, adamant that they didn't want anything to happen with that stone.
Okay, well, that's-
And the neighbors, and then I told her about that, they, you know, that it's against state law to move the boundary wall.
Right.
So-
Okay, well, that's what I was kind of concerned about.
I'm just trying to see, where is it here? Can we see this big huge map now?
Oh, the whole.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to do.
It's London.
This is my original property. Do you mind mine?
Yeah.
Rowley.
All
Here's Rowley Line, here's Coleman Road.
right, I can always find where the new mill is, but the mill's on the Raleigh side, that's why it's not on here. Yeah, came up here.
What's that for here?
I posted it down, it does put it down.
See, here's Elm, here's school.
I governance, governance.
What does this say? What is this? This part of Elm? Oh, yeah, yes, there's Elm.
They didn't want to never know.
Judge Samuel Sewell was the one who laid out the mile markers for the Bay
The
Road.
Bay Road,
That
following
was my house.
Benjamin Franklin wasn't doing it, but Benjamin Franklin was the one that ran south Boston.
Right. And my great grandfather wrote the book about it.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
Channing Howard.
All right, so you're gonna give me the information and I will scan it so that everybody can.
Yeah, I was gonna give you one copy that, Shannon has been saying.
Okay.
You want to read it faster than me?
No, I want to scan it so we can all
So
read
you
it
can all
later.
read it.
She couldn't get it through.
Yeah, my computer, it wasn't really,
Well, because there's a lot of info, all of this.
this probably
This
is.
just looks so nice. Almost could be part of it. What?
Is he done?
No, he went, I think he said he had something in his car.
No, his side's still here.
And somebody's phone was ringing. I should have highlighted this. I did send an email to the DPW to ask them if they would please, make sure the milestone is visible
Before,
and, to check if it's sinking.
and I think it's just, because they're not mowing. I thought they said the big road in.
Well, is it their property? Is it our property or Atkinson's property?
It's town property because it's on this side of the stone wall. It's on the town property.
Yeah,
Okay,
in theory,
Yeah, I
yeah.
just wanted to just double check the.
Yeah, because it's a stone. I don't think, you only own the herbage
You would know.
What's growing,
from the
not,
stone wall to the center of the road
Yeah.
is yours. So if somebody's picking your red berries,
good to know.
they're yours.
Good to know.
Because by law, you own the herbage. You can do whatever you want to do with that
That's
herbage.
Because the town people cut all the stuff.
Well, they do that for safety. But really,
We don't
it's
have berries
yours.
that we care
That
about.
was established.
But I do enjoy that they take away the weeds. I might do a little bit.
That was established when they were actually
She did it.
cows for the herbage was not the herbage. I thought this one was
Are we done?
I was just gonna say, is there anything
Well, I
else?
was wondering, because
You walked away.
we asked if,
Well, we're deep into that
I will,
discussion.
I will
Get a copy.
scan this and send it to everybody.
Call me in.
It's really
Okay,
interesting.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
Come from the.
I make
from
a
the
motion to
zebra people.
adjourn.
9-7
And,
by Burns.
beyond that.
Second,
coming in from Siberia.
Second,
They
all in
do
favor?
things like this.
Aye.
Slabs.
Lon,
They,
all right,
they,
that way up.
they make